Yes, no problem. So the model of the brain in the 60s and 70s, I'm an engineer too, was more like we were a computer, and that affected artificial intelligence. But now we're doing imaging of our brain. We're finding that our brain is not a computer. It is very illogical and non-linear, and we're very much connected to our body. Our body decides how we think, and it's very important. So I think next stage of internet, because we can basically do almost anything logical on the internet. We can know where we are, what we're doing, but we can't communicate with all of the non-verbal and non-logical communication. And psychologists have shown that 60% of our communication is actually non-verbal. That doesn't mean just the speech, it means textual and logical. So we should look at the other senses. And one thing is touch, because touch is one of the most basic sense of communication. I think one of the reasons we all fly here rather than watch each other on Skype video is physical presence. And touch is very common across the cultures. So studies have shown that even in Japan or US, people basically touch each other in the same places. So opposite sex friends, same sex friend, mother and father. But the cultural difference, the US people touch each other a lot more. And here's some of the work that some of my students have been doing. For example, touching your pet, in this case chicken, through the internet, and hugging your child through the internet with a doll that you squeeze and she feels hugging on her body. And now one of my students making a company where making rings which you can squeeze. So you can imagine having wedding rings, and when you're thinking of your wife, you can squeeze the ring and she'll feel a squeeze on her finger. So it's a silent communication. Smell and taste is almost unheard of on internet communication. But one thing why smell and taste is important is because the only two senses directly connected to the emotional part of our brain, the limbic part of our brain. So you can directly affect your senses using smell and taste. Some of the early work was done in the 60s actually. This Sensorama was probably one of the first work that used smell and taste together with interactive movies. But since then there has been very little. There's been some research. This is some work from a lab in Japan and university, which is a smell cannon, and it can track your face and project the smell directly to your nose. So everyone in the room can have individual smells according to their liking. My student, one of my PhD students working on these glasses, and when you meet someone through your iPhone, it can detect your preference and then emit a smell to them. And so you can enhance the communication with a smell. And it can be used for connecting elderly people together with young people. So we're making some systems where grandmothers or grandfathers who might be in the small town can cook together with their children. And this is the way that we used to have social communication. And normally your grandparents don't like to get like an email for their birthday, but imagine that you could design some food and send a 3D food message to your grandmother in the other part of the world, so she can not only see the message but eat it and taste it. And we're working on some prototypes, such as food printing, so you can print like a Twitter message, but then it can be eaten, and also like eating together. And now we're working on some devices where you can directly stimulate your tongue. We're using electric pulses to artificially stimulate taste. So then we have purely digital taste stimulation, which could be connected to the internet for new kind of taste communication. Thank you.